For lovers of steam, this is the ultimate. The largest engine in working order in the entire world, the Union Pacific Challenger. These giants were used to haul passengers and freight across the American Midwest until the late 50s when diesels took over. The locomotive is articulated with two separate engine units under the vast boiler. The driving wheels at the front form a huge bogie unit with enough side play to run easily on sharp curves and gradients. The French engineer Anatole Mallet invented the idea over 100 years ago, but he never imagined anything as big as this. Fully coaled and watered, the Challenger weighs over 500 tons. On October the 8th, 1983, the Challenger left the yard to work a special train from Cheyenne to Laramie and back. The two diesels that brought the train up from Denver were taken off, and steam took over for a run through the Wyoming Mountains on the Union Pacific main line. The haunting echo of the chime whistle was the rallying cry for the hundreds of fans who gathered at the line side to see the world's largest working steam engine being put through its paces. As the engine gathered speed, the Union Pacific men had the satisfaction of driving her at full power up the main line. It had taken them over 4 years in their own spare time to restore the engine to first-class condition. With a great 10 foot by 15, no fireman could shovel fast enough to keep the fire going. So a mechanical stoker has to be used to satisfy the Challenger's appetite. And 28 tons of coal are carried in the tender. Higher up the line, at a height of over 8,000 feet, the train literally entered the clouds, with its single headlight piercing the fog. Once over the hill, the train broke into sunshine again on the descent to the plains of Laramie. Laramie was last served by passenger trains many years ago, but the small station survives, proudly bearing the badge of the Union Pacific, the overland route, so named to distinguish it from its rivals, the shipping companies, who sailed coast to coast via the Panama Canal. Passengers now go by air, but the Challenger's visit reminded the townsfolk of Laramie of the days when the Pacific Limited and the Overland Express called here on their way across the prairies to the Rocky Mountains and California. Until steam ended on the Union Pacific in 1957, Laramie was the main servicing point for the Wyoming Mountain Division, and the yards took on the atmosphere of the 40s as the Challenger was prepared for the return trip over the hill to Cheyenne. But the main business of the railway today is freight, thousands of tons of it. Trains 2 miles long with 4 diesels at the head are quite common, and a lot of it is piggyback business. Long-distance road trailers can travel more economically by letting the train bear the brunt of the long haul across the Midwest, 1,500 miles from the Californian coast to Omaha and Kansas, connecting with the industries of the East. The Union Pacific is America's east to west lifeline, hardly less important now than on the day in 1869 when the famous Golden Spike was driven in to complete the first transcontinental railroad, the Union Pacific. When steam still ruled the high iron of the West, the massive loads of freight far exceeded the capacity of ordinary locomotives. But 2-in-1 giants like the Challenger would lift 3,000-ton freights over the mountains with ease. They were equally at home on the heavier passenger trains too, as 3985 demonstrated here on the famous Sherman Hill, a 1-in-80 climb away from Laramie. This magnificent spectacle of steam power is of course only possible through the support of the rail fans. A whole trainload of them paying $75 a head for the best bargain of the year in nostalgia. Specially staged run-pass give everyone a ringside seat at the great steam show of the West. With the surrounding hills still echoing to sounds not heard for 20 years, the fans climbed aboard again for more drama higher up the line. Suddenly empty again after this brief invasion, the mountains of the Midwest relapsed into silence as the train drew away. The best views were enjoyed by the lucky ones who got a seat in the dome car, as the high boulders in this strange landscape towered above the train. In a final burst of power, Challenger charged up the last half mile to Sherman. This is the highest point on the Union Pacific, 8,015 feet up on the Continental Divide. The Challenger was over the hill now, and the coal feed was slowed down as the driver shut off for the descent to Cheyenne. A triple-headed freight topping the hill from the east greeted the steamer in the dusk. The day was over for the Challenger, but for the Union Pacific it was just business as usual as another freight rolled through the approaching night. the steam enthusiasts will have to wait another year for the Challenger's next trip, when Sherman Hill will echo once more to the pride of the Union Pacific.